I read a thing online that said homeschooling has increased by 63% ever since the pandemic. I have personally been homeschooled all 16 years of my life, and I really feel like being homeschooled has been one of the most beneficial things for me as a person and in my overall just like joy in life. So I want to show you guys the day in the life of a homeschooler. It's definitely a foreign concept to someone who's been public schooled their whole life, and it's just such a different way of living. And I think it's interesting to know a lot about how different types of people live. Please subscribe and let me know if you want more homeschooling content, because I have 16 years of data to do videos on. The main thing that I love about homeschooling is the freedom. There's definitely a certain amount of structure to my homeschooled days. Just me as a person, I like to be organized, I like to have lists and stuff like that. So generally I'll wake up anywhere between 7 and 8:30 a.m. And I do have a little list of daily things that I like to do all the time. Eating a good breakfast, making my bed, texting a few of my friends just to kind of keep in touch, journaling, and things that are good for like my overall health. Super interested in like cooking nice breakfast for myself. You know that saying that's like breakfast is the most important meal of the day? It literally is. Also, all of my clean dishes are in the dishwasher right now, so I'm gonna use this to put the eggs in, and I'm using this giant pan to make my scrambled eggs, and it definitely doesn't need to be this big, but it's what we have. For example of just like the things that I can do with having so much freedom is basically last night I did not sleep in my bedroom. I slept on the trampoline with my little brothers. This is what it looks like. Goodness, it's bright. Ever since we were younger in my family, we've always had like a sleeping on the trampoline night. It started with my oldest brother, and then like my two sisters and me, the four of us would do it together, and I always thought it was just the most exciting thing ever. We would do it the first week that it got cold in Texas because our summers are so long and they just feel like they're never ending. So when that gust of wind of cold comes through, it needs to be celebrated in some way, aka sleeping outdoors. I now do it with my younger brothers, and it's so much fun. I didn't sleep great last night. I definitely will be taking a nap at some point later today, but the idea of like a tradition and doing something that kind of messes up your sleep schedule but gives you great memories with your family is just really awesome and really fun. Still got it. I used to be able to do like 4. I was so sure I could do 4 back handsprings across the trampoline. How did I ever do that? I love working out at the gym. It's great and all, but it's a 30-minute round trip, and sometimes there's days where like I literally just can't get to it. And if I do go to the gym, sometimes there's days where it's really unintentional because my mind is scattered and I'm like just doing this to check it off the checklist, and that's not really a great way to exercise. I mean, it's better than nothing, but a lot of times in between school subjects or projects or really whatever, I'll just go on a quick little walk. Maybe 15 minutes, maybe an hour, just depends on what I'm feeling. I like having that flexibility. I like being able to walk out of my house, take a little walk, turn around, get some natural exercise, and let my brain decompress. Because if you're hauled up in one place for too long, it can be just really unproductive because you kind of get into like a funk. That's why a lot of people work at coffee shops or something, because they are switching up the environment and trying something new. And that's kind of what going on a walk does for me. Look how pretty it is outside. Also, the fact that it's October, I'm shook. I cannot believe how fast this year is gone. My neighborhood has always been super like secluded. I love it. There's not many people, and the people that are here are like old sweet people. They're more like elderly and just wholesome. Like one of them literally drives a golf cart around and he'll come visit people's houses. It's like really wholesome. Over the course of the years though, more like adults have moved in, which is fine. Not much has changed, but I just love it because even when I was little, like when I was 8 years old, I would just walk out here, take a walk in my bare feet, sometimes in my swimsuit, just no fear whatsoever. Anyone in my family could walk around this neighborhood and feel completely safe, and I think that's super duper important. Pretty much every single person in my family have a creative streak of some sort. It goes like my grandparents, all my cousins, all my siblings, like just all extended family, we just all have something creative that we're interested in. My dad is really good at poetry, and he's overall just a creative-minded person. My mom has done painting, photography, stuff like that. For me, my most creative interests are photography. I love photography. I started a business recently for photography, and then also music. I also love writing. Like, I always loved English. I used to write books when I was little, and I actually did write a book, but that'll be coming up. Music has been such an interesting journey for me. I started music when, I think in like 2019 sort of, and I actually did a whole video kind of explaining my music journey if you want to check that out. I had a song that came out in early June of this year, and that was so fun and so exciting. And I feel like I want to come out of high school with more than just an education, and I feel like homeschooling really helps with that because it gives you time in the day to have experiences and do things that are gonna create you more as a person. They're gonna give you more values, more experience, more wisdom, rather than just having a great education. And like, a good education is important, but I just don't think it's the end all be all. I think overall who you are as a human being is important. And that's not to say that you can't do that being schooled every single day at like a public school. That's completely false. Like, so many of like our best inventors were public schooled. Just the way that it worked for me, homeschooling was really like the best way for me to express like my creative projects and creative things. So along with the whole creative theme, something that happened this year that literally changed our lives is we met Froggy. Oh my gosh. So my dad and I used to go to this coffee shop, Sweetwater's, every single morning. It's a local coffee shop, and every other month they change out the artwork and they have a bunch of different artists put up their artwork. One time my dad and I walked in and there was a bunch of paintings of animals that all kind of looked like this style, and we saw this frog and we were like, we started to create a persona for him. We thought, since he wears like a Speedo, he must be confident and sassy. And then we started to just give him this backstory. Every day that we would go, we would add on to the story of Froggy. And then one time it was approaching my birthday and I was like, it'd be so funny if we bought Froggy. We talk about him all the time. We like have given him a life and a backstory. We should have him before like they get rid of him in the coffee shop. And lo and behold, my dad got it for me. You can see that in my what I got for birthday video back in like the beginning of the year. I was so shocked. I did not expect him to get it. So Froggy lived at my house for a little bit, this beautiful painting, and he just kind of chilled. And then we went crazy. So my dad and I started giving him stories and things that he was doing, and we would refer to him as like a person, and we were literally giving him character traits. And we started to refer to it so often that other people in the family caught on. And so my little brother was talking about Froggy, and then my sister, and then my other brother, and then my mom, and all of a sudden everyone loves Froggy. So I was so inspired by the things we were talking about Froggy and the things that he was doing and his crazy, insane personality that I wrote a book about it. I wanted to have something that can compile all of our best Froggy ideas into one thing, but then after having the book, we were like, oh my gosh, what if I did a whole series of books and then we kept them as children's books for when all of me and my siblings have kids. Then they can be introduced to this glorious empire of Froggy that we've made, and they can be a part of it. Now let me describe to you Froggy's diagnosis in this psychoanalyst. His main personality trait is always looking for new identities. So some days he'll be an artist, some days he'll be a fitness instructor, and he's just trying to find himself. But he's also overly sensitive, overly emotional, and overly just like prone to crying and mental breakdowns and overthinking. Like he's honestly like, everyone has a little bit of Froggy in them. Like Froggy's the bad trait of all the human race. Froggy is infinitely 28 years old. We just think that's a really funny age because it's like you're a little bit too old to be acting the way that he's acting, and it's just like kind of gross. It's like, Froggy, like, you need to grow up a little bit, man. Froggy is only about 2 feet tall, and he's just super anxious all the time. So here we go. Here is my Froggy book. This was seriously one of my favorite projects ever. I did this in about August and I never really shared it on YouTube, but I really want to now, and I want you guys to understand Froggy. So let me read you this book. After Froggy moved in with the Cole family, he was happy. He had escaped his ultimate nemesis, Gorilla. Gorilla used to taunt him every day with his stupid fancy headphones, and Froggy became very insecure. Despite Froggy's insecurity, he enjoyed looking down at frogs who lived feral in the outdoor pond. But after a time of prideful comparison, Froggy realized that he was not nearly as busy as Dad, Mom, Matthew, Lily, Laura, Annie, Max, Mark, Adam, Luke, Edward, Gracie, Velvet, or Miss Apollo. His first answer to this identity-threatening issue was to get in with the other animals, Velvet and Miss Apollo. Froggy decided to work up his courage to ask the dogs to play. Velvet said yes enthusiastically, and the three of them began to play Picking Stuff Up, Velvet's favorite game. But Froggy began to feel out of place. Velvet would aimlessly drop her things to follow Miss Apollo through the garden. Froggy never understood where they were off to, and the lack of structure made him weary. Concluding that Froggy needed a job, Froggy joined the worship team. On the first day of practice, Froggy pretended that he overslept despite being awake overthinking since 3 a.m. Then on Sunday, Froggy couldn't work up the guts to perform on the stage. He sang off stage, whimpering and off key. Froggy then decided to work at Chick-fil-A. He was very embarrassed and self-conscious every time he went out in public, but courageously, Froggy worked at Chick-fil-A until something unexpected happened. Dad drove past him and saw him through the drive-thru window. Froggy was so overcome with anxiety and he felt caught for something that wasn't even illegal. Right then and there, he quit his job. Finally, Froggy realized he needed to have a hobby rather than a job because he couldn't bear leaving the house. So he decided to join in on the Cole family Scrabble nights. On Froggy's first turn, he tried to enter "gipchisos" as his first word, and the Cole said it wasn't allowed. So overcome with anger for the unjust punishment, he flipped over the game table and began throwing a fit. He was banned from ever playing Scrabble again. Froggy struggles with feeling out of place, insecure, and he projects his weaknesses onto others. But Froggy actually has a lot of strengths that he takes for granted. For example, Froggy has been carrying around shopping bags for almost a full year, and he always seems to have the right things stored away. He's also great company when he's taken to H-E-B or on a walk. Froggy also has a unique way of bringing the Cole family closer together, except on Scrabble nights. So that's our book. Since then, I've written about 4 others, and low-key, this all started as like one big inside joke. But I actually love writing children's books. I think it's the funniest, most fun, entertaining, and easy writing ever. And low-key, like, I want to get these published eventually. I want them to be real books. I want other kids to have them. I don't know how, and it's not one of those goals that I work towards every single day. Like, there's no time crunch. It's just kind of like a distance goal. Like, someday in the future, I'd love to have these published. I don't know how. And who knows? Being able to express this creative side of me might end up being a successful business in the future. Who knows? And if not, that's okay. So yeah, there's Froggy. When it comes to the actual work of homeschooling, obviously the freedom is a little bit less free because there are certain assignments that you just have to do. You can't miss them. So today I actually have to start working on a PowerPoint for a presentation that I'm giving very, very soon because I'm homeschooled, but I go to school once a week because I do have teachers and students. That always confuses people. It's kind of like a day where all the homeschoolers meet and give each other assignments. Shameless plug real quick. Doing homework is so much more fun when you have aesthetic journals. I actually released 4 journals over the back to school season in August. I use them religiously. I love journals. I love the matte feel. I love how big they are. I love how much paper they have, and they're only $7.99. So check those out, please. They'll be linked in the description below. A lot of times with homework, I will have just a bigger priority that day, like visiting and helping out a friend or getting a certain video done, which I commit to before the week begins. And a lot of times I can move Friday homework to Saturday evening homework. And it really just like depends on my week. I mean, of course I want to try and do all my homework during the weekdays and then have the weekends off. But if I don't, it's okay. Like today's a Saturday and I waited to do my presentation for today. But I had a lot of good experiences during the week that were more of a one-time chance. And I still got my work done. It just didn't happen in the traditional way. Welcome to my car. My dad and I are about to go on a fun adventure to a friend's house. I've never been to her house, but I've seen it on social media and it's pretty amazing. So this is my dad. Hello. We are going to our friend Madeline's house because she just had a baby. I think this is her 3rd one, right? Or
yep.
4th? Okay.
Yep.
And dad made a bunch of food for her, so it's gonna be really fun. Seeing the baby. That was so fun and so gratifying. I literally saw Madeline grow up because she lived with us and she was like 18, 17, I don't know, it was pretty young, and now here she is having 3 kids. Anyways, I hope that this video was informative and gave a good insight into the homeschooled world. I do just want to say, whether or not you're homeschooled, whether or not you have a seemingly good life, a seemingly bad life, whatever you want to justify it as, all good lifestyles start with gratitude. So even if you don't feel like you have the life that you want, having gratitude for the life that you do have is really the best way to enjoy your life. All right, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!